Hello astrology friends, and welcome to my channel. I'm Shannon from Home Alchemy Astrology, and let's just jump right into June. I think we're going to love it. It's going to be fast, flirty, fun, and a breath of fresh air. It's going to be very mercurial as we head into the summer solstice, especially after all of our beautiful Venusian Taurus energy that we had back in May, probably with a little bit of earth shaking with Uranus in there with the conjunctions. I think, as the dust settles, I think we're going to really love this new movement with Jupiter in Gemini, and we're going to have a stellium in June in Gemini. And one of the first things, and this is like first in our lifetime news, is Jupiter newly entered into Gemini will be trining Pluto in Aquarius, started actually on May 26th. The trine started there, but it will perfect May 31st through June 3rd at 1 degree. I think the effect will be pretty strong actually until the two planets start to separate and move past 5 degrees. So I think we can really feel this right up until about June 25th. And then as Jupiter moves along, Pluto has already begun retrograding backwards into Cap to finish his stay there before permanently moving into Aquarius in the fall. Also, Mercury will be in his home sign of Gemini as well, direct and in conjunction with Jupiter, trining Pluto. We do have Chiron, Mars conjunct on June 3rd as well, squaring Neptune and far from there Saturn, but they're nonetheless highlighting frustrations, I think, about wherever our Aries Chiron wound exists and possibly getting angry about it. Mars rules Aries, about the blockages of Saturn, of how we're going about trying to fix or heal that wound, or maybe, angry with the progress that we're trying to make, or even angry about the wound itself. And we could also feel a little bit of confusion there with Neptune in Pisces, especially getting up to that anaretic degree, of what steps to take to make the changes in healing where we need to take those steps where we feel wounded. On June 6th, we're going to have a new moon in Gemini at 16 degrees, affecting the mutable signs of Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius, anywhere within 12 to 20 degrees. It will sextile the North Node in Aries, and it will trine the Libra South Node. This new moon will align with Venus and the Sun, but it will square Saturn in Pisces. I don't really see this as too problematic. It can really just be motivation to move past blocks or work through issues surrounding love and communication, starting new projects in that Gemini realm. It could mean having trouble, grounding ourselves, Saturn, mentally, and maintaining focus, especially with all this movement into Mercurial Gemini. There's going to be that desire for love and harmony in relationships will be more pronounced. Working with people, opportunities to work with others, money opportunities, new commitments, etc. And then we're going to see a culmination with all of these topics about 6 months from now at the Gemini full moon, December 15th, 2024. Back to that Jupiter-Pluto trine, also with Mercury. This is going to be the first in our lifetime to ever see this exact trine of Jupiter in Gemini to Pluto in Aquarius. The last time Pluto was in Aqua was 1778 to 1798. What does this mean? Well, with Jupiter in Gemini, we're going to see, especially over the next year, a lot of momentum, growth, expansion with internet-based communications, possibly electric vehicles. Gemini rules vehicles. Electricity is ruled by Aquarius. And possibly being more affordable to the hoi polloi. It maybe won't be such a elitist thing to have an electric vehicle. Some of them can be quite expensive and hard to afford for the average person. Sorry about my dog. Early childhood education, that we could see big changes with that, revolutionary changes. I would love to see a dismantling of the structure of school as we know it. Not because of the teachers. I love the teachers. We have a lot of them in my family. It's just the way that the education system is in America. It's an old institution, and I feel that it's ripe for change. Mercury in Gemini adds double strength to these topics and with no confusion, as it will be in direct motion. It also Mercury rules intelligence, quick wit, data. Aquarius rules large masses of people, the internet, hopes, dreams, wishes, spirituality, humanitarianism, and then you throw Pluto in the mix, right? And Pluto is, below the surface, deep, rumbling transformation. So maybe we'll see revolutionary, genius ways that groups of people will interact and work together, fighting for social justice in local communities. I always think of the group Anonymous. You'll see them sometimes kind of rise up and enact some social justice to specifically heinous crimes. And they're very much the unseen. I feel Anonymous is so the epitome of Aquarian justice too, and also Pluto in Aquarius. So maybe we'll be seeing more groups like that in the next 20 years. The power will lie with the people, and I think justice will be served where there's been a major imbalance or abuse of power. So I would love to see changes to the education system, especially here in America. Gemini does rule the third house, and the third house does rule elementary education, childhood education, your neighborhoods, siblings, neighbors, marketing, business, and so on. But I think there's going to be a lot more movements, quick changes within smaller local communities, new community education groups. Actually, there was community app that just started in my community. More growth with the homeschooling groups. We're definitely going to see that. Jupiter, education, children, Aquarius, the people. We're going to see a lot of changes with this stuff. And also, I think with Jupiter and Gemini in the opposite sign of Sagittarius, Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Pisces, I think we're going to see a lot of growth away from traditional religion, and especially touching transformational Pluto and Aquarius, who rules astrology and spirituality. We're going to see more growth in the astro world, and fast growth that I believe is here to stay. That's my last bit on Pluto trine Jupiter. Remember, this is kicking off a new 12-year cycle. When Jupiter comes back, loops back around the zodiac signs again and lands back in Gemini, we're going to see that trine again to Pluto and Aquarius. And maybe it will show a whole new world around these topics. We do have a massive stellium in Gemini in June, sextiling the North Node in Aries, trining the South Node in Libra. June's going to be a great time for social events, relationships, new relationships, graduation parties, proms, date nights, gatherings, planning new communication projects, opportunities for money around these topics, setting new educational goals, book writing, blog writing. June is going to be very mercurial and very flirtatious. Gemini can be a flirty sign. And with Mercury there, full strength, Mercury is also very youthful. So until June 17th, we're going to have Jupiter, the Sun, Mercury, and Venus until June 17th, all in Gemini. Okay, moving on. June 11th, we're going to see a little bit of crunchiness from Mars and Taurus, or Pluto and Aquarius. Flavoring the month, coming exact at 1 degree on June 11th, and then it will start to separate and get a little bit better as Mars moves on. Squares create tension and the need for action. Mars and Pluto are two malefics, so you can feel this energy a few weeks before and after the exact square. Pluto is now retrograde in Aquarius, so the effects of this might be a little bit unseen, maybe a little bit more internal. Mars and Taurus is ruled by Venus, so I don't know. I don't see too much trouble with this, especially because Jupiter and Gemini, Jupiter will be touching Pluto. It could also exacerbate problems. It could look like, Taurus rules banking, land, cattle, food, money, luxury goods, fine wine, fine food. Pluto and Aquarius, large masses of people, hidden agendas, anything powerful and below the surface, deep excavation, dare I say, earthquake, rumblings, but hopefully nothing that extreme. Behind the scenes, maybe powerful people doing landmass grabs, powerful people or powerful few taking land from the people. So cattle industry issues, mass food production issues. I see it too far away to detract from the Mercury-Venus conjunction, which is coming up on June 17th and 18th. And once again, don't forget Jupiter is here and it is a protective planet. June 12th, we're going to see Mercury in Gemini in a square, causing a little bit of pessimism or possibly a block in communication. Feeling frustrated if you're working on a project or with people, getting your ideas across, getting heard. You might have a little bit of loneliness in relationship here. It might just be best to carve a little bit of time out for yourself on this day. Relax, just have some quiet time with your thoughts. This too shall pass, and quickly, especially with Mercury. He speeds around pretty quick. June 17th and 18th, Mercury and Venus in Gemini will be making a conjunction on the 17th, and then again exact on the 18th at 1 degree of Cancer. What does this mean? These could be good days for anything communication related, buying new vehicles, new contracts, good things, good money news should come from these contracts. Venus rules money. Anything related to education, educational goals for your children for the next year, car loans, purchasing new cars, launching a dating app, launching a small business, marketing, all of these things. If you're planning some events around those topics, the 17th and the 18th will be very good days for that. June 20th and 21st, the sun will enter Cancer on June 20th, and we will have a full moon in Capricorn at 1 degree, opposing the sun in Cancer at 1 degree on June 21st. This may look like a culmination around Capricorn Earth sign-based themes of government, politics, powerful institutions, 10th house career-related issues, tangible things like money, land, food in the world. Especially Ceres is there, the nurturing mother asteroid in Capricorn, but she's retrograde. And I feel that when planets and asteroids are retrograde, you feel the effects of them more. They seem and appear closer to Earth. There was a new moon 6 months prior to this full moon, and we might be wrapping up these tangible goals that you have set in your own life to do with career, home, Cancer, and family-related matters, or maybe trying to strike a balance between the two because they will be in an opposition to each other. So there could be a little bit of stress there, especially it's like the two are on the seesaw at the playground. Over the month, we will see a square from Saturn and Pisces. Wait a minute, sorry, I already talked about that. I think by the end of the month, we will be welcoming the soothing, watery Cancer energies. Maybe we need to ride off into the sunset and, call into work, take a beach day, and go for a swim, and just cool off and absorb all the things that have unfolded from all of the conjunctions in May and then again in June. Let's jump into all 12 signs and see what these dates hold for you. And please like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and help my channel grow. And I didn't mean to rhyme just there. All right, see you in July. Hello, Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. With Jupiter just leaving your first house and all of the conjunctions that just happened, Jupiter, Uranus, Jupiter and Venus, Venus, Uranus, that all happened last month in May, you're probably ready for a breather. It's very likely that you planted seeds and a new cycle has begun for you with regard to your first house. Whether a new love came into your life, that was possibly very likely in the past year, or if you began a new project or a job that will prove to be very profitable in a very big way over the coming years as this new Jupiter cycle unfolds. Possibly with all of that sudden Venus-Uranus activity, you could have won money, come into money, or you possibly will over the next cycle, especially as Venus comes back and activates that conjunction next year in the spring. You could have possibly found new inventive ways to earn money. Now in June, you're going to have Jupiter moving on into Gemini in your second house. The second house for you does rule your money, self-worth, lower face, mouth, and jaw. But ruled by Gemini, you want to pack light and travel often this upcoming year. You may have planned new ways to make money over the past year and are starting to take action now. So there was probably a lot of ideas, seed planting. With Uranus there, the ideas could have come in suddenly, in surprising ways, or surprising ideas about how to increase your self-worth, how to increase your monetary gains. You can start to take action now with Jupiter moving into a money house that will also improve your self-worth. Maybe you could even become a travel blogger or something like that with all of that mercurial light energy of June because of the stellium that will be in Gemini. Going into the earthy, lush, hidden gems, or something like, food blogging and traveling, wine blogging, all Taurian second house themes. Taurus naturally rules the second house. On June 3rd, you will have a trine between Jupiter and Gemini to Pluto and Aquarius at 1 degree exact, and Mercury will also be in Gemini in the mix. This happens for you in your second house, from the second house to your 10th house of career and reputation. In the bigger story, this could mean a new cycle with regard to the way you make money, your career, what you do, and what you are recognized for in the world, how it influences and also increases your self-esteem. But there is Uranus still on your ascendant making a square to this aspect. And, Uranus kind of creates rumblings and quakes and shakes and a strong desire for change, which may just shock people around you as you want to break free and into a whole new way of making money. Let's say you've been in banking or real estate for a number of years. Taurus rules those areas, and suddenly you've become an astrologer. Aquarius 10th house, or you want to start a nonprofit that helps underrepresented people. Aquarius also represents marginalized people. And this change can bring you enormous gifts, spiritually, financially. It can bring a massive increase in your self-worth and how you feel about yourself. It may not happen right away, but you can start planning right now, especially since Pluto is retrograde in Aquarius and not at full power. But it can also bring, I feel with the retrograde planets, they bring really profound, deeper recognition or insights. It's a time for kind of stillness and everything appears to be going backwards and closer to Earth. And I just feel the effects are much stronger. But the changes you want to make, they are deep. They will be transformational. They will be potentially life-changing. The square can be, I don't hate squares. I really don't. I know you might hear some astrologers kind of boo-hoo them or I think that they're very, very bad. Sometimes they can be, but I more often than not, I've seen them as they create frustration, but there is that desire to change. So they move us into action. If you have too many trines in your chart or happening for you during a transit, trines can make you a little bit lazy. Squares can really get your butt up and moving. Okay, so there's kind of my tidbit on that. But the square can be frustration about not getting progress fast enough. Just trust in the process. And as Uranus gets closer to moving into Gemini, he's going to be a lot happier and making changes so much faster. And again, I think with Uranus moving into Gemini, you will see more changes again to your second house. It could be even where you live, real estate, land, things like that. But I think it will be positive. Uranus has not been exactly comfortable in Taurus over the years. Uranus rules Aquarius and will be much happier in a fellow air sign. But I'll give more on that as we get closer to that change. For the new moon on June 6th in Gemini at 16 degrees, it will take place in your second house again. So you can kind of see the theme of June as we start off. A lot of it has to do with your second house of money, resources, self-worth, the lower face, the neck, throat, tangible earth-based things, land, real estate, luxury, food, wine, luxury real estate. It will conjunct Venus and the Sun. This could be like, wow, an exciting new money-making idea, opportunity. Venus rules money. She will be in her own house, the second house for you. It could be a beautifying procedure that you are planning on this day for your face, mouth, lips, teeth. Anything you start here should yield results once Venus becomes visible in July. I also think Saturn rules bone structure and things like your teeth and whatnot. So if you are planning a procedure and Saturn is in Pisces, which currently sextiles your ascendant sun or moon, I feel that these changes will be very beneficial. I think you will be happy with the end result of them. Anything that you start here will probably start to show results once Venus, she's invisible right now, but she will become visible in July. So be patient if you don't see these things come up for you right away. A lot of times the astrology of events takes a little bit of time to unfold. Uranus is squaring this aspect, but it's a pretty wide square. Uranus is in your first house, so this may be a change that seems sudden to other people, or that you do suddenly, or maybe it surprises other people. Venus is the depositor of Uranus, and Venus rules you. So I think it could be a change you will like, even with the square. So the square could really just be creating the energy for you to want to do this like right now, especially with Uranus in the mix. It's something that you want to change quickly. Just give it, I hope you have given this plenty of time, this change you want to make, thinking about it. Because sometimes, Uranus can come along, make you want to change something, and then after the changes happen, you might realize, I didn't want that blue hair that I impulsively decided to dye. All right, moving on. Saturn in Pisces in the 11th house will also square the Sun and Venus and the new moon. This could just mean, maybe creating obstacles in the changes you're trying to make with regard to that second house. So maybe you have an illusion, or there's a little bit of a fog around your hopes and dreams, or something you're trying to create from the second house. Blockages in ways to make money, or there might seem to be like an interruption, or a struggle or a blockage in ways that you want to improve your self-worth. Maybe you're trying to find the right doctor to help, with some beautification process, and you're struggling to find the right person. Many times how much money we make ties into our self-worth, and that's for better or for worse. It could be changes that you're trying to initiate. You feel a little bit stifled, maybe from the 11th house area. The 11th house could be your friends. It could be large groups of people, the internet, hopes, dreams, wishes, big lottery wins. The 11th house rules astrology, spirituality. This can also show you a way that you can work through these things slowly but surely. Saturn likes a disciplined approach to making good changes, and then he rewards after you have put in the work. On June 11th, and I really want to get these squares out of the way, but this one between Pluto and Aquarius, your 10th house, and Mars and Taurus in your first, I have to, give you a heads up about this, especially the days, and you could be feeling this probably even at the end of May, building up to this exact point on June 11th, and even, as June progresses, you'll still feel it, but it will separate and start, the aspect will separate and start to move on. I want you to be careful around these days, before and after, especially with, the first house is you, your body, everything about you and how you present yourself out in the world. 10th house is father figures, career, what you do in the world, the big stage, big government, institutions. Don't get into an argument with your boss, no matter how frustrated you are, or people that you work with, or people that may have power over you in a work environment. Wait for the square to pass and then address the issues that come up calmly, or, in a written word. Gemini rules, writing and communication. Don't push back if you owe taxes. Just, plan it out in a structured step-by-step way of how you're going to take care of your business. But take care of your business nonetheless. You get the gist of this, and this too shall pass. Squares, like I've mentioned before, also create enormous, and especially in this case with the square to Pluto. Pluto is huge. It's transformational. It's anything below the surface. Powerful people, big money, in this case, it can create enormous energy and desire to change something undesirable. Maybe it's something, with you and what you do in the world that you no longer want to do, and it's creating a lot of friction. And maybe you just want to put in your 2 weeks notice, but you can't, because you have a family to support, or, bills to pay, or rent, or a mortgage, So the positive thing may be initiating the changes, for a career or a job that you hate to something that you love. And you can start planning these steps now. But wait to hand in your resignation. Use Mars and Taurus, which is in your first house right now, to check out if you can, see if you can just call in around that day or on that day and maybe hit a local hiking trail or even just a walk in the park. On June 12th, Saturn will square Mercury from your second house to the 11th again. What can possibly happen here is there can be like a bump or a slight block that will energize you to come up with solutions. And this could be with communication or your thoughts, maybe being a little bit pessimistic about the goals or dreams or hopes that you have, maybe an internet-based business, blocks or difficulties or kinks to work out. The 11th house is a house of gains, and the second house is a house of your wealth and your bank balance, like literally. So maybe, again, you're having some frustration about trying to make more money or communication about these things. Just remember that this will pass and, come up with a plan. Saturn likes plans and he likes seeing them be put into action. On the 17th and 18th, Venus will conjunct Mercury at 29 degrees in Gemini and then again at 1 degree in Cancer. This happens to be in the second house and then in the third. Good money news can definitely come in. And or a great idea can come to you suddenly with how to make more money. You could have loving thoughts, loving communications, or messages can come through. Could be a good night for a date night. Business ideas, doing something in your local community. It might be a nice night out in your local community. Maybe you learn of a way to make more money in and around your neighborhood through a friend, cousin, or sibling, or even through social media. Gemini rules social media and Venus rules money. On June 20th, the sun moves into Cancer, once again lighting up that third house of communication, the mind, local environment, friends, siblings, early education, small business, online communication, as social media, what else? Marketing, self-made business, self-made wealth, all of those things are covered by the third house. And since it's Cancer, it could be something that you want to do from home or writing a book, something along those lines. And as this energy moves into Cancer, these themes will become more prominent. On June 21st, the full moon in Capricorn at 1 degree will oppose Cancer, and that will be between your 9th house and your 3rd. This can mean you're trying to balance out 9th house issues that could be culminating, like higher studies, gurus, teachers, book publishing, or goals that you started 6 months ago could be wrapping up, and then trying to balance out your everyday environment. The lower mind is the 3rd house, the higher mind is the 9th. 9th house is higher, loftier ideals, spirituality, and long-distance travel. You could be coming back home from a long business trip or even after having visited maybe a spiritual place. Maybe you've struggled with studying for exams and are trying to finish them up now, trying to negotiate a book contract. The 9th house is a publishing house, saying goodbye to a guru or a teacher at university or finishing up a course with them. If you're a teacher, you could be saying goodbye to your 3rd house elementary students. Just some ideas to, get your thoughts going about what this full moon opposition could bring. On the 29th of June, Saturn in Pisces will start to retrograde back into your 11th house of hopes, dreams, wishes, lottery wins, large groups of people, internet, astrology, etc. But it will be sextiling your ascendant and your Mars in your 1st house and trining all of your Cancer placements heading into July, which will be the Sun, Mercury, and Venus. Cancer rules your 3rd house and is the natural ruler of the 4th. So maybe you could be returning, retrograde is to go back over and not begin new unless it was already in place, to old dreams, revising goals, hobbies, returning to an online venture that involves communication and friendship. Thinking or planning, Saturn would be the steps that you take to build a business or book from the 3rd house to accomplishing that long-held dream in the 11th. The 3rd house is also self-made wealth. 11th is big gains from the hard work or sudden windfalls. Saturn is trying to help you gain big before it leaves Pisces in 2026, to build and work hard from that 3rd house and get the big gain by the time Saturn leaves. You also have Mars in your 1st, making an exact sextile to Venus in your 3rd. Making you want to put in the efforts to increase your money, to become self-reliant, especially if you have been dependent on someone else. This makes you become more independent in how you earn or bring in income. The work to get there should be easier to implement, and you may even enjoy doing it with the sextiling your ascendant. And you have had the South Node in your 6th house and the North in your 12th, making it difficult to take care of and have energy for your workaday job, projects, possibly your health. The North Node in your 12th has maybe had you needing time to rejuvenate, rest, and relax. I think having Mars in your first until July 19th will give you an energetic boost that you've been needing, helping to give you energy in those 3rd and 11th house matters. July will have placements sextiling your sun, moon, or ascendant. So take care, and I'll see you in July, Taurus.